What's up, YouTube? This is Todd Smith, and I'm back with another video. This is the Akai XR20 First Impressions. I picked this up a couple days ago. I'm surprised at how much I actually enjoy it. It's built to be urban, almost hip-hop-ish sounds. I would say it has a very dirty 90s hip-hop sound by default, but you can easily use it for other things. As you saw in my first day jam, it was more of a 4-on-4, almost dance floor beat. It didn't really have much hip-hop going in that at all on it, so it's not stuck to the hip-hop genre, but it's definitely catered towards that kit-wise. But you can go in and create your own custom kits and choose the sounds you want for those kits, so you're not stuck to the default kits. This isn't a sampler. You can't sample your own sounds, but again, you can create your own custom kits. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sounds, drum sounds, to create your own kits from. So it's pretty intuitive. I've already started making a few of my own kits. The sequencer is pretty long. I think it's about 128 steps, if I'm correct. It's a long sequencer, and you actually have 3 sections of this machine. You have the drum part, you have the one shot, and then you have the synth. Now, the synth actually has, let me double check this before I say it, 63 sounds. All these 3 sections can be set to external MIDI. So yesterday, if you watched my jam and you saw me sequence the external sounds, it was with, I turned off the internal synth sounds and assigned the synth section to my micro brute. If you use the pads themselves to record, the pads only have a 3-octave range, so it's pretty limited. But if you put in an external MIDI controller, it allows you to live record in the keys that go beyond the octaves that are allowed on these pads. I've only tested that with the synth part. I have not tested that with the one shot and the drum part yet. I know you can set them both to external, but I haven't tested the key range part over the pads, but I'm going to assume that it works the same. And if that is the case, you're able to control up to 3 hardware synths from this. If you're not using drums, you could actually use this to control 3 hardware synths and have pretty long sequences, which is pretty cool. I'm going to test out and make sure these first 2 sections work the same as the synth. Now, beyond the synth parts, you have a bunch of drum kits too. I'd say you have, let's check out. You have 99 pre-made drum kits. And then again, you have a user section which has 99 that you can make yourself and customize and choose out of all the sounds in the machine. The sounds themselves, they have settings internally. You can control the volume of the synth part. You can choose the panning. You can choose the tuning, the envelope attack, envelope decay, envelope release, filter. Now with the drums in the one shots, you have the volume, you have individual pad volume, you have panning, you have tuning, you have envelope decay, you have no attack, you have no release, but you do have a filter. You have a little bit of settings underneath the hood that you can play with to manipulate the sounds. You have a really nice repeat mode. And you can change the quantization on that. That's really high. So as you can see, you can really definitely get up there and you have that cool note repeat idea. You have the tap tempo. You have some built-in effects. I'm going to say they're probably not the best. You got some reverb, EQ, and compression, but they're not the best effects. Your step recorder is there, but it's definitely old school in the sense it's not a virtual grid that you're filling out in front of you. It's number-based step recording. You have a pattern play, which you can individually trigger up patterns. More for live performance, probably. Then you have a pattern song mode, which you can just have a whole entire song just play when you hit play. The nice thing about this section down here is you can have two sequences. You can have one sequence assigned to A, one sequence assigned to B, and then actually a third sequence as a filler. And a filler happens if it'll actually, when you hit the fill button, it'll switch the sequence over to your fill sequence and then swap over to the bank that you're not using to create a change in your rhythm. Right now I'm using a preset, and I'll give you an example. It's looping once without the fill right now. And I'm going to hit the fill. If you notice, it changed the rhythm at the end and kicked into an alternate sequence. So beyond all those modes that I explained to you, you actually have two sequences and a fill within each individual user drum save, which is pretty cool with the note repeat, the fill, your two sequences, and your pattern play. You have some pretty cool live functionality there. The pads themselves feel amazing. I'm not a finger drummer, and I'm not really in the position with the camera to hit them, but they're very responsive, and they're probably one of the most responsive pads I've ever had. Everything on this machine is pretty straightforward. If you're a little bit of an old timer and kind of grew up in this era of machinery and you know this layout, it's all pretty familiar and everything's straightforward. The instruction manual is amazing. It's one of the best manuals I've honestly ever seen. It's straight to the point and it's easy to find what you want, what you need, and you get the answers that you want really quickly. So it has a MIDI in and a MIDI out, and you can also swap over to a MIDI through, which if you do have a MIDI through, which works 100% fine, the MIDI in still functions on the machine like it normally would. You can run this thing on batteries, 6 AAAs. Overall, I'm really, really happy with this machine. I felt like the drums were the weakest part of my setup. I didn't have much variety going on because of the Korg Vocal Beats and the PO12, where this enables me to open up a lot of variety on my drums, have a bunch of saving options, so I'm not limited on the amount of saves that I have like I was before. Gives me really good capabilities of controlling other devices with longer sequences, so that's pretty cool. And it also comes from a different era, and so it kind of captures a different sound than a modern drum machine, which is another reason why I kind of decided to pick it up. Alright guys, so this is just my first impression on the XR20. I'm going to now use it for about a month in jams and then have my month review. So if you like this video and you like free jams, synthesizer tutorials, free patches, just electronic music of anything of that nature, subscribe to this YouTube channel because it's going to be a pretty big year. This is my second year, and I've definitely plan on keeping things going strong. So thank you, YouTube, and have a great day.